Beautiful. Thank
Cool.
you. Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
So, thank you for coming by, Matt.
Oh, thanks for having me. Super stoked to be here.
Yeah, always,
always
great
fun.
to have a visit from you, one of the best ukulele teachers in the world. And you were just mentioning before we started that you give that lesson away.
Yeah, I just did a tutorial on it just a couple weeks ago on Blue Roses Falling. It breaks down all the different parts, and it's like a 40-minute YouTube video that's totally free. You can download the tab for free and everything. So, yeah, Jake gave me his blessing to teach some of his songs as long as I made it accessible to everyone, and that was a no-brainer. It's too much fun.
Nice. And what's your channel?
If you go to YouTube and you just type in Matt Dahlberg, I think YouTube at Matt Dahlberg, it'll pop up. Maybe there'll be a link down below too or something.
Yeah. We'll give it. We'll give it. So talk about these ukes.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this. So Kalei and I are both playing new ukuleles that I've teamed up with Kanilea on. We're calling them the Parallel Series. And it's really special because, well, they represent the different styles of playing and teaching. This one is a spruce. They've both got koa back and sides, but this one features spruce, Sitka spruce with a high G ukulele, while the one Kalei is playing right now is cedar, western red cedar with a low G on it. Same koa back and sides. They have the same features otherwise, the same fretboard inlay with the Roman numerals, the same Goto UPT tuners, ebony binding and arm bevel. They both have the true reduction system, which is kind of a way to make the uke sound like they're broken in already, it kind of feels like. But they're incredibly responsive, and one of my favorite features is the D series. The D actually stands for Dahlberg. I don't know if you knew that. No. But it's exciting because it's kind of a combination of my teaching ukuleles and just playing ukuleles. If you've seen any of my tutorials before, you've seen me use my Kanilea. We've got the numbers on the fretboard on my teaching ukulele, but they're the Arabic numbers. So, it's not something that people would necessarily want to have on their playing uke, but it works really well for when I'm teaching. And so students would often ask, oh, I want to get a uke like yours. What do you recommend? And now being able to have these models, I'll be using them when I'm teaching and performing, and being able to say, hey, this is something I strongly recommend. And with the high G, you get that spruce, gives you that articulation, those individual note clarity, elements that work so well for the strumming like you heard me do earlier, but also for, when you're playing that G as kind of a drone note or more melodically. It's just a really nice fit for the high G. And the uke Kalei's playing being the cedar, I find that cedar is a little bit more responsive, a little bit mellower in its sound, and I think that just fits better with the low G. I tend to not strum as hard or pick as hard with low G because I want the rich kind of overtones of the low G to do the singing, and cedar just gives you that sweetness that sounds so nice. And it sounds even better when Kalei's playing it than I could hope to sound like with it.
I mean, they both sound great. One of the things that we were talking about earlier is like, wow, that's sustained.
Yeah,
just
tons of sustain, just
on both of them.
rings. Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the D series and the true reduction, all the different tech that they're packing in there. But it's really cool to be able to offer this, and I haven't even said the best part of it all yet is, I'm primarily a teacher, and these ukuleles are not just the instruments you're buying, but you're investing in a journey. I've created content that's crafted for each of these ukuleles in parallel to one another. So you kind of start with an intro video that teaches you some of the basics of how to approach playing these and some of the techniques that we'll work on. And then they kind of split into two paths that run in parallel, where the high G is going to be teaching you concepts of campanella style playing and ghost note strumming, and the low G is going to be teaching you more about bass movement and Travis picking and stuff like that, before kind of coming back full circle and explaining how you can use these techniques in other ways on your ukulele journey. And so these content paths are going to be available through these ukuleles, and they're also going to be featured on my membership platforms as well on Patreon and such. So really, really excited about it. It's going to be so cool to take these ukes on these adventures, and hopefully some people can come along with them.
That's awesome.
That's
And I gotta say, like, personally, I so love the D series from Kanilea.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super stoked that you chose to go with that.
It's funny because I was reluctant for D series for a long time because of the looks as a teacher. Because a lot of things that I teach have to do with position relative to the sound hole. And so when I'm teaching, I say, put your hand over the sound hole. Well, it doesn't quite work that way.
Oh wait, let me try.
And so that was an element of reluctance. But the more I play with them, the more I'm like, these just,
The
it's
sound,
like
yeah.
it's the future of Kanilea ukulele, and it's so different and so much. The side sound port too. There's something about this positioning that's really special and sounds really good. So yeah, I'm really excited to be playing one. Just selfishly, I'm excited to be able to experience it more.
Well, that's part of it, because it takes that personal love to want to grab it and make music with it, and progress with your art.
Yeah. No, and you've been instrumental in that, which we've talked about before. But that's why I love working with companies like Kanilea, like Oli. It's not just companies that are worth believing in, but their products back it up. And the ukes sound great. And my focus is always on providing the best possible experience I can for the people I work with. And when people are taking lessons with me, they trust my input as a teacher, and I want to make sure that whatever I recommend to them is in their best interest. And truthfully, I usually just think, what would I like to do the most, and give them that answer, because yeah, good ukes can make a big difference on your journey for sure.
So just to recap, this is 2 brand new models from Kanilea.
Yes.
You said they're calling it the Parallel series?
Yes. This is called the Ala Kalei series, or Parallel Paths. Ala Kalei, which I guess Ala means path, and Kalei means kind of moving in tandem together. So that's where we arrived at the name Ala Kalei.
Beautiful. So these are going to be...
These are available.
This is the first 2.
Yep, these are the first 2. They're going to be available direct from Kanilea and for dealers. So if you're watching this and you've got a local music store that stocks Kanilea, ask them to carry the Ala Kalei series, because it's worth it. It's really special, I think, to be able to provide something like this to dealers so that people can get their hands on them at their local music store and things like that. But yeah, they sound good.
Super. Very cool. I want to hear more music from you guys. That was amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Should we play something else?
Sure.
What should we play? You want to do the Black Orpheus?
We'll try. Yeah.
Should we try it?
I think we can give it a
There's
try.
a lot of changes there. Would it help if you had the changes in front of you?
I think it might take 1 or 2 takes.
Sweating so
Maybe
much.
take 2 or 3 takes, maybe maximum.
The intro goes with a D minor there to A minor, back to the D minor to A minor, and then D minor, E minor. Yeah, and then I'll do and this is just kind of an intro, and okay. so bad for a first take. That was
Yeah,
cool.
not
That came out.
bad.
We've never played that song all the way together before.
I've never played that song all the way at all.
That was gorgeous.
That worked out. That was cool. That was one of the first jazz pieces I learned in college.
Nice.
And it's just a beautiful tune. And I've been obsessed with the Vince Guaraldi's jazz impressions on Black Orpheus record. And my 5-year-old son bounces in his little chair to it all the time. So I've been listening to a lot of that.
One of those
recently.
songs you would hear in like a very fancy restaurant.
Oh, yeah, right?
Or like I can just hear like the bass, the
Yeah.
drums, the
Yeah.
keys.
Totally.
Oh.
It's a beautiful song.
I was just thinking through the whole thing, like, God, the gorgeous tone on these two youths. Really, like, it's a testament to the beautiful builds these are. But, also, I was thinking, what a great duet you two are together.
Well, Kalei makes everyone look better. But
He does, right?
No,
he
no.
really does.
This just isn't our first time playing together. We spent a lot of time jamming in Australia.
That was a lot of fun. What's cool though is Kalei's so good at drawing out the low G bass lines and stuff, and you can really hear it in that too. So it was a really good showcase of how these different ukuleles kind of can be played. Like, for some of the chords that are played there, one of them is a B minor 7 flat 5, which sounds all scary. It's this 2 2 1 2, and on a high G, it has a very different sound than on a low G, and so
But because I have a low G and you have a high G, even if we play it in the same, it doesn't clash
exactly.
at all.
Yeah, and so like a lot of the voicings I pick for some of these chords on a high G to get like the melody note out would sound so different on a low G, and that's what's cool about it is you kind of explore what's the best voicing for this instrument, because the different strings really do open up and change the possibilities. So
Kalei's gonna be recording something here coming up this year.
Yeah.
Talking about an album, but I'm wondering, like, for what you have coming up, like, what percentage is high G?
Whoa, that's a great question.
Do you know yet?
Most of it is gonna be
Yeah.
high G. I can say that, but
Team High G.
I'll
Shout out Craig.
probably have like my very first couple low G recordings.
Very first, huh? I mean,
Yeah.
besides the millions of times you've recorded here.
I mean, like as a album project,
Right, album.
Yeah. because I mean,
Because
the
you
only-
were all high G, but then like it's like, you're either or.
pretty much. I mean, doing all the videos for the company and all the sound samples and
Like all the funk stuff almost
yeah.
needs low G. It's like there's stuff where like you've gotten into like comping and things that just sound perfect with low G.
I was I was put in a position where I had to think outside of the box and kind of just go with the flow. And then all of a sudden I just started really appreciating the low G. In fact, like a lot of people don't know when I got my very first ukulele, it was strung up with a low G. But I never really found my sound and my style until I switched to a high G. And then that's when I was like, I can stick with this. And I almost never do performances with a low G because I don't want to carry two ukuleles with me everywhere I go. And if I do, it's going to be a backup for my main one. That makes more sense for me as a touring artist. And so, but I still love low G.
On our next model, you just push a button and swaps out the high G for the low G.
That'd be sweet.
The low G gets hidden inside of the frets, and then the high G comes
It's
up.
just a sympathetic string underneath.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned the product samples. Like I've done some now with you over the years, and I feel so thankful that I have some experience with low G because most of them are low G, with the tenors at least. It's just kind of the
most
the
of
default.
the like higher end builders want to show off the range of the instrument, which you get with a low G.
Yeah,
Not always, but
I do think that if you have never played an ukulele before and you grab two ukuleles and you just go like this, and you do it on a high G, and then like that is objectively better. And by better, I just mean it's fuller, it's richer, it sounds like there's more depth. And high G, ironically, I think is a little bit, bear with me, a little bit more advanced to draw out that richness and depth with. I'm not saying it's a harder tuning to play, but the techniques that are used have a little bit higher of a barrier of entry to fully realize. With low G, you can kind of right away get that maximum depth. With high G, you kind of have to, well, play non-linearly. You gotta pull a little bit more out of it.
Oh,
So,
yeah. And
yeah.
for me, I think like with low G, I mean, it's great for custom makers because it really showcases the full range of
Yeah.
tones that you can get from an
Totally.
instrument. And then you can, once you get that, once you're satisfied with what you're hearing, then you can decide if you want to swap it out.
Yeah.
Because if it sounds good with the low G like that, and also sounds good with just the 3 treble strings, it'll sound great with the high G too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah,
some
totally.
some ukuleles will lean one or the
Yeah.
other way, but
Oh, I can't wait
great
for somebody.
You can do 2.
Yeah, I can't wait for somebody to pick up one of these and swap the strings and be like, haha, I'm playing a low G on your spruce, or, high G on the cedar. And it's totally valid. Like, the reason I chose the strings for these respective woods is because the techniques that I'm using and teaching with them, I think they serve a little bit better for. But it's ultimately taste, and that's up to each individual to decide what their own is. And so, yeah.
Yeah, when we get these models in, I think I'll just sample them both with low G.
Oh,
Just
very small part of me just died.
Well, the thing is, the D's are supposed to be with a low G. So, no, I mean, obviously yours sounds great with a high G. But for comparison, like I would try to do an A-B with you guys right now, but it's not gonna, it's no, like you can't compare a high G and a low G uke next to each other.
Yeah.
And I think
like,
that's part of the
equally.
point too, is like Kalei has, one voice that he can get 2 different sounds with depending on if he plays high G or low G. And that's one of the reasons for this endeavor of creating these kind of parallel paths and to create kind of content driven around it, is so people can expand on their own capabilities to be able to find their voice on a high G versus a low G, because it's so different. It's such a different sound.
What does somebody get if they buy both of these?
Well, so the access to the content, you get access to all the content if you just get one. So,
But with both, like a dinner at the Dahlbergs? Or...
Matt will cook for you.
Oh, you wouldn't want that.
Mac and cheese.
I don't know. We'd have to work something out. If you pick up both of these, then shoot me a message. Then we'll figure something out. But yeah, we did a collection last year. We called it the Kaona collection, where we did 8 different ukuleles, all with koa back and sides, and then we had 8 different tops for the woods, and we did D series with true reduction and everything. And we did Western red cedar, we did rainbow cedar, we did Adirondack spruce, Sitka spruce, redwood, sinker redwood, koa, and maple, and everyone had a different sound, but they are all distinctly Kanalea. It was such a cool, like, validating.
That's at
thing.
their Kanilea YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's all on there. And it was a really cool project. Got to sit down with Joe and really just kind of deep dive to what do these different woods do to, create different textures for the sound. And it was really validating too, because my favorite high G sound was the spruce. And when I was playing the cedar, which had a high G at the time, I liked it quite a lot, but I was like, this one could be pretty good with a low G. Like, I think it could fit. And that being said, some of my favorite high G ukes have been cedar. Some of my favorite low G ukes have been spruce. So it's not a mutual thing, but it's just what we
I
arrived
still
at.
want to say that's torrified spruce.
Isn't it crazy?
It's like, are you sure?
That's what I asked Matt as soon as he put it on the
it's
case.
what I
It's
asked
like,
Kaimana when I pulled it out of the case.
Yeah.
I was like, are you sure? Because normally, spruce is supposed to be brighter.
Did it cook a little somewhere?
It looks, it's beautiful. It's really cool grain. So yeah, it's the cool thing about wood, right? Is it's never exactly the same twice. I mean, you'll get close, but every instrument's as unique as every player is, and so that's one of the magical things about getting an instrument that you can really grow with as a player.
Always different. Yeah.
Yeah, super pretty. And to go with that, Kalei and I are pretty excited to announce something here today. We actually technically announced it a while ago on the podcast that we were working on it.
That we're working on.
Yeah. So Kalei and I have a new learning path program, and I think we're going to call it Feel the Beat with Kalei Gamiao or something like that. But it's going to be here on the ukulele site where we break down Kalei's song Feel the Beat. And do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So in this video, it's not just learning the song; it's learning the techniques behind it, the idea and the inspirations of why I used this type of technique and what inspired this song. And it was a lot of fun, you know. And Matt is did a great job of breaking every single piece or part down, so that no matter if you are a beginner, intermediate, or advanced player, you will be able to understand what is going on, and it gives you something to look forward to. We both teach and do workshops. Matt does also some private lessons, and but what you get with this is hours of footage. It's not just a 45-minute lesson. That typically, if you're gonna book a private lesson with even one of us, it'll actually cost a little, maybe around or a little bit more than what this video is actually going to be selling for. And we're excited to be able to release it. It's been about 2 years in the making, and to be able to offer it through the ukulele site exclusively is going to be a great opportunity to reach more people and inspire the next generation of ukulele players. And I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to work with Matt and also with Andrew. And we hope that we can expand on this project even more in the future. And we're looking forward to it and very excited for this journey to be able to share it with all of you.
It's something I've been working on for a while, as Kalei said, and we were fortunate enough to film it with Craig.
Yes.
He did all the heavy lifting of editing and did a phenomenal job. And what's really I think the best part of it is how much of it ended up being unscripted. Like Kalei and I did probably 4 or 5 Zoom calls before I came out on island to film, because I'd have him play something, I'd film what he was doing, I'd put it through a slow downer, and I'd look at every movement and break it down piece by piece. And so that way I could show every layer. Like Kalei said, no matter if you're a beginner or advanced player, you'll be able to see the steps. But once we were filming it together, I would sort of teach something the way I broke it down, and then I'd ask Kalei, like, what were you thinking when you wrote this, or what was your thought process? And then Kalei would start bringing up something that we didn't rehearse or whatever else, and that's where the magic started to happen, because then I would expand on what he was saying, and he would expand on what I was saying, and we'd have these conversations talking about how we utilize these techniques in different ways. And that's like the really magic of learning is when you're able to have those type of connections and opportunities. And there's nothing really like that available for people that are learning. And I remember when we were making it, I kept thinking, this is exactly what I wish I had when I was learning. Like, if I had this, it would have been so much easier to understand not just how to do the techniques, but the thought patterns that lead you to using them. Like, why do artists use the techniques they do? How do they create their sounds? We really dive into a lot of that in a very approachable way. So it's really exciting, and hope to be launching it here very soon.
And I think one of the things I loved about recording it at Craig and Sarah's house is because we also got like even more feedback.
Yeah.
And because everyone in that room was a teacher. And if all the teachers approve of how I'm actually explaining things and giving me better directions, like it's just everything ends up better in the end.
Yeah.
And which was great. So a huge mahalo to Craig and Sarah for
shout
all
out
of your help with this.
Shout out to Mika as well, who was there to kind of be a helping hand.
Oh yeah, Mika was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what if you know?"
Yeah.
Like...
And yeah, there were multiple times where Mika's like, "What about this?" It's like, "Oh, perfect, mental note." And I just kind of kept thinking about private lessons, and I've been really fortunate to have given a lot of private lessons over the last over 15 years now of teaching one-on-one lessons over the internet. And I just kind of, as you would say things, I would picture a student asking a question based on what you said, and I would kind of tease out that new answer based on that. So it's all the experience I've had talking to people that are learning that kind of fueled it, and it was really fun. And I learned so much. The rhythm's complicated. Like, it's not simple, but we break it down in really simple ways where you're literally learning how to count with these motions in very simple ways to be able to play along, learning some basic bar chords, learning some basic things, and learning how to layer it, starting with these very basic patterns and then growing from there. And that's what makes it so satisfying, is you start getting some of the basic rhythms, some basic chords, and then you start applying techniques like chunking, and we do full breakdowns on those techniques, and learning other versions of the chords, muting. There's a whole lot there, and no matter where you're at, you'll be able to start learning from it. And it's not intended to be you sit down, you watch it once, and boom, I'm done. I've done the lesson. It's intended to be something that you can grow with as a musician and apply pieces depending on where you're at. And
it's just one song, but it's like there's so much within that, breaking down techniques, and what somebody's going to come away with could be inspiring entirely different songs, but taking away those techniques and styles and rhythms and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it should give you about 3 to 4 weeks if you were to kind of break it down into per lesson. Most lessons are like half an hour, 45 minutes.
Did you say it was like 3 hours?
I think so. Yeah, we got to look at the final
maybe
amount
even more.
Again. But yeah, there's a lot of content that was edited down too, and not a lot was cut, but just we had a lot of footage, and that's the funny thing is people want song tutorials all the time, and I've made hundreds of song tutorials now. I've got well over 100 song tutorials on my YouTube channel. That's what I do with my Patreon membership. All the YouTube videos are free. You can learn all sorts of different chord melody style songs, if you're trying to play in that style. But it's always frustrating to make those lessons with the intention of who is this for? Because it's really hard to just teach a song because there's so much infrastructure to how you want to play that song. So what I try to do is every time I make a song tutorial, I try to implement 1 or 2 sort of critical techniques and make it about that, so that you're not just learning a song, but you're learning how to implement, kind of a strategy to play that song. And as you get more advanced tunes, the hope is you kind of stack those on top of each other to create an opportunity to get the fullest sound possible. It's kind of like buying tools for a tool belt. If you're a brand new ukulele player and you have a tool belt that has no tools on it, and somebody says, oh, do this job, it's going to require a hammer, a screwdriver, a level, you're kind of screwed. So the best thing you can do is, okay, here's a hammer, here's how you nail things with it. And then it's like, okay, this next job, you need a screwdriver. Cool. This next job, you're going to use a hammer and a screwdriver. Okay, that's a little different, but I've got these tools, I'm going to go for it. So I try to make my content driven in that sort of way, where you develop the tools and then use those tools. And I try at the beginning of videos to say, hey, this video is going to feature these techniques. Go check out these videos first if you don't know them. Just like saying, hey, these tools are needed. If you don't have them, go get them first, and then we'll dive in. And so with this Feel the Beat, there's a ton of tools. There's a ton of tools. We're going to give you each and every one of them along the way. And that's why it's so much content, and why it's so many minutes and hours of footage to teach a relatively simple, brief song, is because, well, we need all the tools on our belt to be able to play it. So we played the song on the podcast before with Corey a couple of years ago, right after we did this. That was kind of cool, but we probably should play it again now, I think, because we keep talking about it.
Yeah, that'll make total sense.
So the lesson is mostly with high G, but you can play it a lot of stuff with low G. We talk a lot during it about kind of why you do one versus the other, but Kalei, of course, can play it on both because he's Kalei.
I mean, with low G, I still gotta kind of think. I'm so used to keeping the 4th string open because it's a high G.
Yeah.
But this should be fun.
Should we try it?
Yeah. Did you wanna do the lesson version, or do you wanna do? I don't wanna scare people.
No, you. So how about this? So I will only play things that we teach you in the lesson.
Okay.
So I won't do anything that's not in the lesson unless I make a mistake, but that's fine. Kalei's good at hiding my mistakes. But I'll just play what we learn, and then you just do whatever you want on the top of it. And I think what's cool about that is showing how, I'm playing a foundation.
Well, right, but people need to know that you're learning this way, but you want to give it life too.
Totally. Yeah, no, and that's one of the things with it too, is we talk a lot about like each technique and then how you can apply it. And Kalei is so gracious with it all because he's like, I want to hear your version of Feel the Beat. Like, you know,
Yes.
I want you to make this your own. And so once you get these tools, you can make stuff. It's kind of cool in that way. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, but yeah, should we try it?
And this version is going to be completely different than how you would ever see me play it because I'm playing a low G. You know, so what I was thinking is like maybe from the head you start with the melody,
Yeah.
and then exactly like how we're teaching it on the video, and then I'll come in and then kind of do my or like a variation of the melody. Then we
Sounds
can
good.
trade solos in the end.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
1, 2, 3, and.
Sweet.
I feel like that version is a lot more mellow than your original.
Yeah,
It-
yeah, it is because like normally, because I've made maybe like 20 or 30 versions of that song over the last decade, and there's some stuff in there that's a little bit more intimidating for from some players, and some stuff that's not. And one of the things that I think that to make it more less intimidating for beginners and intermediate players was leaving out stuff like
Well, it's not just beginner and intermediate. It's me.
No.
There's so much, and actually that's why I loved working on this song, and why we kind of arrived at it is you can still be playing the song at kind of a base level and still be finding that groove and feeling the beat.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, absolutely, there are layers, and the final layer is Kalei layer, and none of us are going to be able to play Kalei layer, and that's okay.
No.
None of us need to. The trick,
Everybody can.
the trick is to find your layer.
Your own sound
and-
from it. But
and-
that song is distinctly Kalei.
Oh, totally. And him having 30 different versions just validates it as a lesson even more, because it showcases how if you learn the foundation, you can build all sorts of stuff.
Sure.
It's a
Yeah.
representation of Kalei. Basically, every time he gets on stage, he's got his tool belt and he's got some wood, and he's going to be like, all right, I'm going to make something. Do I know what it is right now? Nope. But we are going to figure it out. And at the end of it, he made this beautiful birdhouse, or a skateboard ramp, or whatever it is. But every time he's using the tools to make something a little different. So it's pretty cool.
What kind of stuff do people get if they're a Patreon for one of you guys?
Go for it.
Well, on mine's, I just recently started posting things. I've been working a lot with Isaac Peters from Ukulele Lab. He's been doing a lot of the video edits for all the footage and content. So right now I have a series of videos called Tips and Tricks, which are like little mini tutorials that I go over some of my favorite techniques, strumming patterns, chord progressions, and a little bit more. There are concert footage from my tours. We've done vlogs in Asia. And there's so many different things. There's also interviews with other ukulele artists, and you get a lot of different things. I have a book that I recently released on Patreon that has some of my original arrangements or compositions on there, and we're working on a English version soon. It was originally released in Japan, but you can also find it there. So if you want to learn how to play Mach 4, you've been looking for the score for that, that's available on my Patreon too. And there's different tiers on Patreon, but there's something for everybody. You can check out the free version. There's a whole bunch of videos that you can watch, and if you want to learn more things, there's other options as well. So check that out. Matt has a lot of content that he's put up for over the last decade, and I'll let him explain more about what he has on there, because he has a lot of cool stuff on there. So
It's funny you said the last decade. I'm like, it's not that long. It was 2017. Oh man, that is close to 10 years. Crazy. Yeah, I've been really fortunate to have been able to create a community on Patreon of people that really enjoy working on chord melody style, which is where kind of the style we're playing right now, where you're playing the melody and chords together and layering them together. And so every month I do a suggestion post where I make a post on Patreon, and all the members get to suggest songs and ideas for lessons, and then I create a list based on those suggestions for a vote. And so all the patrons every month get to decide what they're working on. And last month, for instance, was Blue Roses Falling that won the vote. This month it's actually some jam theory stuff that I'm pretty excited about. I've done lots of different classical pieces. We've done lots. Previous winner recently was Vivaldi's Winter Largo movement, that sort of, which is just gorgeous. So that's, an example of something that maybe is just a little bit more advanced with it, but it has a full lesson index available where you can see the hundreds of different lessons, all organized by skill level, by style of music, by tuning, low G, baritone, or high G, by techniques that are used or the tools. And the goal with it is to be able to provide a platform and a resource for people to find songs that they really enjoy and learn the tools that they need to be able to play them. And in addition to that, you can download the tabs to all the different songs, watch the videos. I also have courses available on there as well. I've got a chord melody course I did in conjunction with Ukulele Underground, as well as a strumming course I did with Ukulele Underground 10 years ago now. And both of those and other courses are available at a higher tier to be able to allow you to, get some more structured lessons to be able to progress. And all the stuff is all labeled in the different collections. Patreon's really improved at its organizational features. And so you can go on there and you can click, kind of a beginner or advanced, platform to see pathways. But you could also think, oh, I want to play blues. Oh, there's the blues playlist, or the Celtic music playlist, or the classical playlist, or whatever interests you might have, there's something for everyone. And because I've been doing it for so long, it's such a good sized library that there really is going to be something you can get excited about, and then hopefully you can share that excitement with the other members and help decide on the next lesson.
I'll put links below.
Cool.
And help support the artists too. It's always good to give back to the community while helping yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, it's with private lessons, you're always so limited, right? And
Yeah.
you get private lessons are still my favorite because you get to make the most connection with people, and you really get to help them accomplish their different goals and aspirations. But if they can't afford a lesson, then they can't access the content. And if they can't, if you only have so many hours a day and to be able to teach people. And so making the content was a way for me to bring those experiences that I've been fortunate enough to have with my students to a broader audience through YouTube and things like that. And all of those tutorials that I mentioned on Patreon, all of the ones that are linked in that lesson index, they're all on YouTube. So you don't have to pay a cent to be able to watch these lessons and enjoy them and learn from them. And then if you're getting a lot from it, you can back the Patreon to download the tabs and PDFs and access bonus lessons. But it was a priority from the get-go to be able to offer these as a resource for people that, hopefully will really appreciate them.
Hell yeah. Man, you guys haven't had a second take tonight. I'm like,
not yet.
You should just
on a
keep
roll.
going.
We're on a roll.
Do you want to do a baritone track?
Oh, I love baritone. Yeah.
All set?
Yeah.
Cool.
It sounds really good in the headphones.
Yeah. Yeah, the baritone records so nicely.
Yeah.
Kalei's doing all that in the key of E and improvising. For anyone at home that plays ukulele, you know how incredibly not fun that is.
It's not a ukulele key.
No.
It's like it's a great key for beginners on guitar
Or
but not on
baritone.
ukulele or
Yeah.
baritone.
Yeah.
Not ukulele. If you're wondering, well, on the chord books would probably tell you to hold it like this: 4 4 4 2. And this is not fun if you're just getting started
No.
playing ukulele. But if you're creative, you know, you can learn how to play it in different ways. Like this one, it needs 2 fingers. You know, and then you can get really nice chord progression. And then
Yeah, using that flat 6, flat 7. Yeah, not a key I've ever written a song in, and but I wrote a song in E because of a baritone. So.
Yeah. That was an original written by Matt for an album that we did last year.
Last year, yeah, it was almost a year ago. Can you believe it?
Whoa.
In fact, it was a year ago. Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was April that we recorded the last
It's
part.
been that long already. I
Yeah.
thought it was like during summer.
No, it was
Oh,
yeah.
shoot.
It might have even been earlier. It might have been a year ago in February or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty
Wow.
crazy.
Mostly just one pretty short session, but yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you had it pretty much figured out.
Yeah,
So-
I get very anxious when I perform and play, you know, like videos like this and things. And it was very surreal because when we did that album, my 2 favorite songs on it were that Old and New that I just played and a cover I did of Shenandoah. And they were both first take, 1 take in the studio. Now, the opening track took about 40 takes with us, so it was not all
Everything
smooth
else was
sailing.
like right off the bat. So, yeah.
But those 2 just first
Yeah.
take, 1 take, and it felt really good. It was a really, I don't know, I never experienced anything like that before. And now when I'm performing at festivals, I'm trying to either bring my baritone, or borrow someone's baritone for performing to do a few baritone songs, and I don't get the same anxiety playing them. It's very interesting. I kind of have let go with it. I don't know. So thank you for that.
It's a
You gave me
soothing sound.
you gave me a gift with playing and approaching baritone.
Hey, but you know the 6-string tenor you played earlier today? This is
I meant you
your
gave me
next album is the 6-string EP.
You can call it shalang-a-lang.
No, because there's so much beyond 6-string. I mean, it definitely does that, but just finger picking it, like all the different,
Totally different, yeah.
aspects come
Well,
out.
I'm more. I love strumming, and I never strum my baritone, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, a very very little.
Yeah,
little, like,
you approach each instrument differently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like it needs to be played in a fingerstyle way.
It doesn't need the extra. Like you can let the instrument.
Well, especially with the Oli baritones. Like a lot of baritones that I've tried in the past either sound way too muddy or not enough warmth and low end. That's probably one of the most balanced baritones on the entire market, because like we go through so many ukuleles, and for what you're getting through an Oli baritone is beyond what most people would expect.
It's incredible, and for the price too, it's ridiculous. And like the baritone that I got, the Oli, that's why I wrote the music, was because it was that Oli baritone. It was actually very similar to this one, cedar and ebony, and it's just Corey said something on a podcast once with it, or he described it as like a machine making sound, and as you like play it, it just starts humming more, and it's so true. Like you start playing and you just feel the vibrations. It feels like it swells even after you strum it. Like the initial attack somehow grows.
Like this one has a diesel engine.
Right. But yeah, it's such a nice sound and so much fun to play. And so I'm trying to do some baritone lessons too, but I made a tab book of all the songs I did, because we did a Kickstarter for it, and that was one of the things. And that's another example of something that's available for all members on my Patreon. You can download the tab book or just buy it if you want. But all of the different songs are on there, except for one song because I was lucky enough to have Corey and Kalei play on the final track of the album. That one's just not possible to tab. There's too much going on. But we wrote and recorded a song in one session, called it Wahiawa, and it was awesome. One of my favorite musical experiences ever. And I've never sat and listened to myself play music. Like some artists, like they record themselves and then they listen to themselves, and I don't know. That's not for me. But I listen to Wahiawa all the time because of the solo that Kalei and Corey each respectively do. It's two of my favorite like ukulele pieces ever. And I'm playing
Nice.
baritone. Kalei's playing a high G, and Corey's playing guitar. It's awesome. So thank you for.
No, I'm
being the
grateful for
nexus.
you, having the initiative to come and make that happen with them, and that was fun.
It was super
And
fun.
yeah, every time you three are together, even you two, magical stuff, man. Love it.
It's always
So
fun.
I'll put the link to that baritone album, of course. Maybe I'll put Wahiwa at the end of this.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay,
That'll be
I'll
sick.
look for that. You guys want to do one more on the way out, or? Pretty.
That should have been the one on the album. Kalei makes everything better.
I know, right?
That's awesome.
you.